In this video, I'm going to talk about the accounting module. The accounting module is probably the biggest module in the system, and it cuts across all the other modules. So all of them actually post data to or from the accounting module. So I'll show bits of the components of the accounting module in each other of the other modules. So we shall start with the customer or client portal. On the client portal, we have a client like test customer. You can be able to see the sales as well as the invoices that have been made to this particular client. You can also be able to see the analytic accounts, which are also linked to this specific client. Under the sales and purchases, we are able to see the payment terms of this client. We are also able to see if it's a supplier, then we are able to see the payment terms of that specific supplier. Physical position of the accounting physical position of the year, for example, we are able to set it here. Under the invoicing section, we are able to add the bank details of that specific client and the account receivables and payables for that specific client. All that information will be used in the sales, purchase, inventory, manufacturing modules as they now relate this test customer back to the accounting module. So apart from that, we have the product configurator. And this product, as we are doing sales, we have background transactions that happen, things like tax updates, things like payments, and so on. So on this product profile, we have the customer taxes, which is an accounting setting, and of course, the prices. By default, when I'm creating an invoice, for example, and I set 1 liter water, what happens is it picks this sale price plus the customer taxes. If I'm doing a purchase, then it will pick the cost price plus the purchase taxes. Then if I come here to the sales, I have an option here to be able to, do I want to invoice only ordered quantities of the sale order, or do I want to invoice the full delivery delivered quantities? And if I am to re-invoice, do I re-invoice at a cost or at the sale price or no cost? When I come to purchasing, then I can also set the vendor bill taxes of this particular product, and if it is based on what is ordered or what is received. If I go to the accounting module, then I can set the product, which income account will control that specific product, and what are the payables. For example, if it is an expense product, what is the expense account? If, say, you have sold an item, if the sale price of an item, for example, it's $100, what happens if you sell at $90? There is a price difference. So you can post the price difference account to our price difference account here. So basically, we have seen configurations of accounting under the customer level and also under the product level. Now, if we go to a sale order, so maybe we want now to do a sale. So what happens when we do a sale? We create a sale order, we select the customer. By default, if I had set the payment terms of this customer on the customer portal, then it will of course show the payment terms here. Then I'll add a product. So maybe I want to add 1 liter water, 2 pieces. What happens is the unit price is already picked and the taxes are already picked. I save and close, save it and confirm it. Once I confirm, there is a delivery order that has been made here. And that delivery order can be processed. So for example, if I just force validate, yeah, it tells me I don't have stock, so I need to run maybe a manufacturing order. So let me just create another one quickly. I will create the one for 750 ml, two of them. Confirm order, delivery order, validate it. So I've created an order of two pieces of 750 ml water, and I have delivered it successfully. So when I come back to that sell order, the system expects us to create an invoice for that sell order because the delivery has been made. You can create the sell order before the delivery or after the delivery. So I create a an invoice here. How do I want to do the invoicing? Do I want to use a down payment? Do I want to just invoice the invoiceable lines? So in this case, I'll just say create and view the invoice. And you can do partial invoicing. Actually, you can create maybe an invoice for one item, then later an invoice for another one. That is also possible. So by default, it has picked the customer. Payment terms will be picked if you have set. It has shown you the total, if there is discount, if there are taxes, if there are commissions, and all that information will be seen there. So what I'll do, I'll just validate that invoice. So what happens here later, if I go to maybe sales and I go to customers and I look at my test customer here, under the invoiced, if I click on it, I'm able to see all the invoices that have been created previously for that specific customer. And I'm also able to see the payment status. So I'll be able to see the invoices that have been paid, the ones that are open, the ones that maybe are closed or cancelled, and also the source document referring to the sale order, that specific item. Now, at that point, if this customer comes to do some payment, what you can do, if it is a bulk payment, wants to pay several invoices, you can just select the several invoices that you want to pay, go to action, and register payment. By default, you can just add it there and validate. If you are paying for only maybe one invoice, you can as well select here and just go to action and pay. If not, then you can just open that specific invoice and register payment from there. You can do partial payment. For example, this one I'll just do a one. I'll select the payment journal if it is Visa, cash, or any other payment term. If I want to close it or keep it open, so I validate it. Okay, then what do I do? In my invoice, I'll always see the information of the payment here, and if I click on it, it pops up and shows all the details of the payment. Now that is a payment that has been made from an invoice through the sales module. Now if I go back to the accounting module, I still can be able to access all that information here. So I can be able to see all the invoices which are here. And on those invoices, I can be able to look at due dates on a calendar view. I can be able to look at reports on a bar view. I can be able to do so much and also use the date ranges. So if we are just creating a new invoice without considering maybe a sale order, then we can just simply create it here, create the details and just post it. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so that is part of the customer invoices. Now, if a customer invoice was done and maybe he needs a refund, then we have the option of just creating a credit note on the fly. So you just create a credit note, and that credit note can reverse that transaction or can credit that account with some specific payment. Credit notes can also be created just on the fly using the credit notes menu there. Now, payments as well. We have seen payments that are made through the invoice. Like you get the invoice and register payment. So if they are just open payments, then we can go to the payments menu click on it, open it, select that specific customer, put whatever the payment is being done, and post it. So for the payments, there are three directions. You can either be sending money out, for example, paying a supplier, receiving money, so a customer is paying you, or an internal transfer, things like petty cash or posting to the bank. You can also record your memo, or rather the transaction code there, confirm it and post it. All the accounting transactions in the end will be shown on your dashboard. And on this dashboard, we can add as many journals as we want. So for example, Visa, we have the bank. We can add another one, maybe I can create another one and say maybe test journal here, and maybe it is maybe a bank, and I say maybe KCB Bank. I can set the default accounts, credit and debit accounts. I can also set the bank account details. And I can set more details, more configurations. For example, does it allow electronic payment? Does it allow automatic posting to the bank for reconciliation? And any other. So once you save that, what happens is you'll be able to view it on your dashboard here, and transactions can be posted in and out. All the invoices that have been created through the sale order or the purchase order, then we have them here. You will see unpaid invoices, the ones that need validation. And when you click on these buttons here, you'll see more things. You can see credit notes, payment matchings, you can create new ones, you can even have invoice analysis as the reporting. Now that is about invoices into the company. Now invoices out are just the same, but in the opposite direction. So I'll just show you one with a purchase order. So I'm purchasing an order from maybe test vendor. And what am I purchasing? I am purchasing maybe labels, 1,000 pieces of labels. I will save it, confirm it. Now, typically the system expects that you will receive products, then after receiving, you'll do payments out to the supplier. So what happens is I'll receive the products here, I'll validate the products so that I just do the receiving. So when I go back to that same purchase order, it asks me to create a bill. So this is an invoice that will be matching the invoice that the supplier brought in when he was bringing the products. So what I'll do, I'll just create it. And once I create it, of course, it will autofill those details here. I can also create one invoice or one vendor bill, which now can accumulate vendor bills from other purchase orders. So maybe this supplier supplied 4 times in a month, and at the end of the month, you want to create only one invoice for this supplier. So what you do, you just create that one invoice, and here you can select from a drop down all the other purchase orders you want to include in this specific invoice. So what happens is I will validate it. And here, just like the customer invoice, you can register payments that now are going out. If we now are paying out our supplier, so what happens is we just pay and validate, and it will show that that supplier has been paid. If there's a credit note to the supplier, then we can also ask for a credit note there. So everything is kind of interlinked together. If I go back to the accounting module, I am able to see things here. I am able to see bills to validate, bills to pay, and also expenses to process. Talking about expenses, we have the expense module here, which now posts all the expenses that we have in the accounting module. So, for example, you had lunch with a customer, or you had transport cost or delivery cost. You just come here, fill the cost, submit it, it's approved, and you pay it directly. All that information now also comes here to the accounting module, and you'll see the expenses to process here. Now, under the vendor details here, you'll see bills, refunds, payments, products, and all that information that is really ready for you to use. If I go to maybe test vendor, I'm able to see how many purchases I've made from this test vendor and how many vendor bills that are there, and what are the status of the vendor bills. Is it paid? Is it open? And all that. Then we have the accounting entries. So for the accountant, what is important for them is to look at the journal entries, where they now see what transactions happened, who was being paid, or what was being deposited, debit and credit per transaction, and all of them have unique identifier there. So you can be able to access that. Journal items, look at if they're reconciled or not, look at their matching, look at their debit and due dates, all the details are there. You can use your extra filters to be able to look at what is payable, receivable, and reconciled, and so on. When you come to reporting, you are able to see invoices analysis, you're able to see commission analysis, you're able to see the open items, trial balance, and all that information. So if I open, for example, a ledger, I'm able to set parameters that I want. If I want to show currency, if I want amount ending, which accounts do I want to? By default, they pick all of them, and I can click it. Once I click it, I have my report there. It will now summarize this report based on the different accounts that have been configured in the system, and it will give you an opportunity to print, an option to print or export with Excel. That is for the general ledger. We have the trial balance here, the same case where you select whatever that you want to select, and you view it. And what happens there it is. It gives you a trial balance where it shows the accounts, the initial balance, debit, credit, and the ending balances which are there. So basically, you with the rates that you have, you'll be able to see all the types of reports that are there. Finally, we have configuration. This is now where you add all the items that are needed in the accounting module. For example, the charts of accounts, you'll need the charts of accounts a lot, because then that one is the basis of our accounting. We post things to and from the charts of accounts. Bank details, journal items that you want, the payment terms, so that you can be able to select them or at the client level and also the product level. And basically that is our accounting module.